While the Afrikaanse Handelsinstituut, or AHI, Chief Executive Christo van der Rheede has come out saying business in South Africa must stand up to the state. He joins me now to explain this comment. Mr. van der Rheede, such a pleasure to have you in.
Thank you.
Tell us about your concerns with the state.
No, as business we are quite concerned about the state of the economy, low growth. We also see problems with Eskom in terms of delivery of electricity. We also see an implosion at local government level. We see lots of infighting amongst councillors, bringing municipalities to standstill. And then you see also implosion of infrastructure at local government level. So what we are saying is that government holds us accountable via all kinds of legislation, all kinds of regulations. So it's high time that we must stand up and hold government to account. You say, listen, you as government, you must clamp down on those officials that refuse to pay Eskom its bills. You must clamp down on Eskom that does not do what it's supposed to do. You must clamp down on yourself if in any way people are found guilty of not doing what they're supposed to do. Because we as taxpayers, as business, we pay taxes and we expect a return on that investment.
It's strong statements that you have and probably being echoed across the private sector as a whole, but are your sentiments not falling on deaf ears or being met with aggression?
You know what, we are living in a constitutional democracy, and I've said yesterday in the paper, we're not a fascist state. Why should we be scared to speak our mind? Because we are not trying to undermine the constitution. We are not trying to undermine political parties. No, but if there's no electricity, it impacts on business. It impacts on job creation. It impacts on social conditions on the ground. And what we see more and more, people getting frustrated. They're climbing down each other's throats. And you see more and more communities going to the streets and protesting. So that's an indication of low morale due to economic factors. And you need economic growth to address the economic challenges in this country and also the social challenges. And government has an instrumental role. Its role is to create conducive circumstances for business. And what we are saying, that those circumstances are no longer conducive to do business.
We had a spokesperson or special advisor to the Minister of Mining and Resources earlier on in the show today, basically on the back of the MPRDA Act being sent back to Parliament. Is this something that maybe as the private sector that you are impressed with or happy with, given the fact that they've heard the private sector's outcry and now it's being reviewed?
No, certainly, but they must be consistent. We see a number of other legislation that are not really driving or is not good for business. And you know what, it also contradicts the National Development Plan. The National Development Plan was embraced by government. All state departments and ministers were told, listen, you must go and implement the National Development Plan. So let's address the factors that will undermine the outcomes of the National Development Plan, starting with policy, right? Because bad policy will lead to bad economic outcomes. Secondly, start with implementation. Ensure that those people who are responsible for implementation, that the right people are appointed. Why continuing to meddle and in the affairs of state-owned enterprises and with a clear political agenda? We are saying that state-owned enterprises have a clear mandate, and that mandate is to provide a service at the best possible price. That's the clear mandate. If state-owned enterprises do that, what will follow? Development will automatically follow.
So clearly you're not impressed with Eskom right now?
No, certainly not. You know what? Our economic problems, to a large extent, is self-inflicted. Right? If the right people were appointed at Eskom many years ago, if government listened to the advisors that Eskom listened that we need more power generators, whatever, if they invested much more money, I think we would not have had all of these problems at this point in time. But what happened? Because there was political meddling within Eskom saying, listen, you can't have any maintenance at this point in time because it's the World Cup. It's local elections. You must rather spend money on diesel, buying diesel to keep the lights on, you know. and then postponing maintenance. Now we sit with a massive, massive backlog. That will cost us billions of rands, right? And don't think that a little bit of money that government has provided to 20 billion, that will go very far. Remember, we spent, within a couple of months, we spent 10 billion just on diesel.
Exactly.
Right? So yes, self-inflicted issues, and now we sit with another problem. Those new generator, Kusile plant and Medupi plant, those plants will only come online hopefully in June.
Exactly.
And towards the end of the year.
Christo, I just want to get your closing points. Hopefully someone representing government is listening and will respond to your call. But what happens now? We've had organizations like NEDLAC, some say it's just a talk shop. What happens? After the talking, surely there needs to be some kind of an implementation and unity in moving forward.
There's mobilization amongst business. We're meeting with BLSA. The AHI will have its own energy indaba, and we will come up with very clear support measures to assist government. Remember, we're not anti-government. We're not anti the democracy. My goodness, we are there to make a difference. And remember, we're not interested in the type of unbridled capitalism that South Africa used to know. We want to see a new order of capitalism. But to bring about a new order of capitalism which is inclusive, which close the gap between rich and poor, we need government to play its part.
Flight your stories uit. Meneer van der Rheede, thank you so much for your time.